Good evening, everybody. So, my topic is about this one thing. Now, I've been in the self-development world for over a decade now, and what I'm about to share with you tonight is really the one thing that I believe can change everything in your life. Now, all of us aim to change to the better, right? This one thing, if you're able to apply it to your life, I promise you it will completely transform your life. And it is really this idea of judgment. And I know Khurram already talked about it. It was point number 5, if you guys remember his talk. But judgment really is something that we do so casually. We do it so commonly without even realizing. So I'm not gonna talk to you about many points. I'm just talking about judgment today. And we're gonna go deep into the concept of judgment and why letting go of judgment is the one thing that I believe can change everything in your life. So you guys ready for this? Yes? I can't hear you. Yes. Very good. So judgment. Like, I really feel sorry for judges, right? Any judges in here? No wonder, because it's such a tough job, right? We have one there. But it's such a tough job to make a judgment between two people, right? You have a case where you have two people. Making a judgment is so difficult because it's a conclusion. There is no turning back when it comes to making a judgment. But notice how often we make judgments from the moment we wake up to the moment we go back to sleep. When we look at others, when we notice how other people are dressed, when you notice what other people are saying. We judge people with our thoughts, we judge people with our actions. Sometimes we even judge ourselves when we look at ourselves in the mirror. This mind is a master of judgment. And we live in a society where judgment is just the norm. So talking about letting go of judgment will make you extremely weird. So this is a warning. But with this weirdness comes the most peaceful way to live your life. So what is judgment? Is really you thinking of something as right, wrong, good, or bad. What if there was another way of living life where there was no right, there was no wrong, there is no such thing as good or bad? What if you were able to let go of the need to be right, the need to be good, and the need to label others as bad or wrong? I know it sounds like a radical shift in the way you think, but bear with me. And hopefully this can make sense by the end of today. What if there were just simply different perspectives? What if what is right for you is right for the other as well? What if what you see as bad is actually good? But due to our limited perspective, we are unable to see that. And that is really the reality of everything around us. There is no such thing as right or wrong, no such thing as good or bad. And interestingly, the word decide or decision comes from the Latin word decidere, which actually means to cut off. And that is what happens when you decide, right? When you decide to, for example, quit your job. What have you done from your job? You've quit. You've separated yourself from your job. Yes or no? When you decide to break up with that spouse of yours or that person that you're in a relationship with, you've separated yourself from them. And so why is judgment so dangerous? Is that it causes separation. And separation, I believe, is the root of all evil today on earth. Separation is what causes all sorts of conflicts, all sorts of bloodshed and hatred and greed in the world today. What if we were aiming to live a life of unity rather than separation? How many of you prefer unity and oneness over separation? Very good. So I'm glad we're all on the same boat. And that is what I'm inviting you to. And so long as we are judgmental of others, there will always and always be separation in every aspect of our lives. And the only way, or the single most impactful way of creating this oneness and unity and harmony and coexistence and tolerance in the world is if we let go of judgment. And you know these words, why? Why did you do that? When someone asks you this word, why did you do that? How does it make you feel? It's disturbing, right? Because underlyingly, what's happening is that person who's asking you why is actually telling you what you did is wrong. Think about it. Even you must study engineering. You must get married to that person. You should go to the gym. You have to lose weight. There's such heavy words, right? They have so much stress in them. And these words come out of judgment of others. It's when one person wants the other to do what they want because they believe they're right and the other is wrong. They believe that they're good and the other is bad. That is why we use these words. So I invite you all to delete these words from your dictionaries. Are you guys willing to do that from today onwards?
No, because of an English teacher.
So yeah, with the exception of the English teacher in the room, yeah? He's allowed to. What if you were able to replace those words with I choose to? You know, freedom of choice is one of the biggest gifts that we have been given. The freedom to choose. So how many of you like the freedom to choose what to eat? Yeah, we like the freedom to choose everything, right? Freedom to wear whatever we want to wear. Freedom to listen to whatever you want to listen to. Freedom to follow whatever you want to on social media. Freedom to watch whatever you want on Netflix. We love freedom. But why is it that we don't like it for others? Why is it that we interfere and judge others when it comes to their freedoms? Why don't we let them choose what they want to do without having the need to make an opinion of that? You know, holding an opinion of something actually drains you out. It consumes energy. Why not, instead of judging, allow others? This is a beautiful word, allowance. Allow others to make choices that suit them without having the need to label it as right, wrong, good, or bad. I love this quote by Gary Douglas, which talks about this idea of consciousness or oneness or unity, right? He says consciousness is the ability to be present in your life in every moment without judgment of you or anyone else. That is really the root of the matter, guys. And if we want humanity to progress forward, if we want us to evolve in our consciousness, then we just have to let go of judgment. Now, judgment, like we said, creeps in different ways in our lives. So let's talk about judgment in relationships. How many of you here are in relationships? Like, you know, husband, wife, whatever relationship, okay? So the number one cause of conflict in relationships is judgment. It's when one partner thinks that the other partner is wrong. These arguments that constantly happen is really about you are wrong, I'm right. I am good, you are bad. Isn't that true? Right? And this constant resistance of the other's opinion, the constant resistance of the other's choices. Why did you do that? Why did you go there? Why did you not listen to me? I told you not to go. You must do this. You have to. Right? We constantly use those heavy words and then they end up in fights and we start blaming one another, and you just wasted 3 days of your marriage or relationship, just because of this mind that constantly jumps into judgment. What if you instead chose to accept and allow your partner to be free to choose what they want to do? What if relationships was a means for us to add value to one another in terms of allowing them to experience and express themselves in whatever way they want? What if relationships was a means for us to support one another, wouldn't life be much easier? Wouldn't life be much more harmonious? Wouldn't there be much more love in the world today if we chose that life? And trust me, when I applied these teachings to my own personal marriage, it completely transformed my marriage. Nothing is wrong anymore. Nothing is bad anymore. It's simply choices. And it is, so much more peaceful in the house now. Because there are no expectations. It's just loving the other for who they are without any expectations. Completely neutral. You give them the space to do what they want and support them, and they give you the space and support to do what you want. And that is really the essence of a healthy relationship. How many parents here today, or even we either are parents or children of our parents, yes? So this applies to both the kids in the house and the parents. So how often does judgment take place in a family structure, right? Where there's parents and children. How often do parents judge their children? You must do this. You have to do that. You should not do this. You should do that. You have to study medicine. You have to marry that person. You should never do this. You should never do that. And this is what causes children to have so many issues in their life. So many problems. As a life coach, I deal with situations where children or parents approach me to coach their children. And in reality, what I realized is that it's actually the parents who need coaching and not to be judgmental of their kids. Really, the kids are completely fine, they're perfect, they're normal. If only the judgment of the parents was removed out of that, they would prosper. They would really discover their true potential. And so, same thing with parenting. Parenting is a support structure where parents should support their children in whatever they want to explore. There is no such thing as a good child or a bad child. There's no such thing as the right child or the wrong child. But we have this fear in society where, what if my son turns out to be bad? What if my daughter turns out to be wrong? But what if there was no such thing as right, wrong, good, or bad? What if our child was perfect in and of themselves with no expectations? What if family was a means for us to support one another and love one another and experience love and express love to one another without the need to judge? Wouldn't our homes be so much more fun? Do you agree? Yes? Moving on to self-judgment. How many times do you look at yourself in the mirror and say, oh man, I wish I was better looking? Or that pimple on my face, I don't like it. It's wrong. Or I have a bad hair day. Self-judgment all the time. All the time. We sometimes defeat our own selves just by the thoughts we have about ourselves. What if we replace that with this idea of I am enough? This is actually a really cool tip that all of you can apply in your bathrooms. Just take your wife's lipstick or whatever, or your mom's lipstick, and just write on the mirror, I am enough. So that your subconscious could see this every day and remind yourself of the fact that I don't need to be right to prove to anybody. I don't need to be good. I don't need to do anything extra to be good. I am who I am, and the more I am aligned with my truth, my values, that is enough. I don't need to prove my existence to anybody. And those who truly matter to you, those who truly love you, will love you for who you are. Same thing applies to pain and health issues. There's so many people who go through tough times when it comes to health issues and problems with their body. When you have a certain ache in your body or pain in your body, you think that something's wrong with you. You go to the doctor and you say, hey doc, something's wrong with me. What if pain was simply a messenger with a message? What if pain was simply a means of your body talking to you? So I invite you all to look at pain as simply as a message, rather than labeling pain as something bad, or labeling pain as something that's wrong. You know, one of the important habits I practice, and I invite you all to as well, is not to read the news early in the morning. How do we do that, by the way? Reading the newspaper or watching the news in the morning? Okay, I feel sorry for you guys, right? Because you're consuming so much, negative energy right from the beginning, right? You're starting your day with so much judgment of the world. Oh man, that hurricane or that earthquake or that murder that took place in that country. And all sorts of judgments fall into place when you look at current events, world events. What if you let go of judgment of world events? What if there was no such thing as a good event or a bad event? What if there was no such thing as right or wrong? Wouldn't it be wonderful to see the world from a neutral space? What if you allowed people to judge you without having to resist it? You know, if you reflect on the exercise we just did earlier, right? Did you guys feel a slight discomfort when you were looking at each other in the eyes? Yes? How many of you felt that slight discomfort? You know where that comes from? That actually comes from the fear of others' judgment of us. That is why many people freak out of public speaking. It's because you're afraid. You're afraid of how people see you. What if you received all judgment without resistance? What if you allow people to judge you without judging them back as being wrong? So next time someone judges you, how do you respond? Thank you for your judgment. Yeah? People might start saying that, you know what? Oh, Fahad, you're so full of yourself, right? How do you respond to that? Of course! Of course I'm full of myself. Who else do I be full of? Right? And trust me, when you start applying this one thing, letting go of judgment in your life, it will transform your life. This one thing will change everything. Thank you so much.